Ladies and gentlemen, can we get your attention? We're getting ready to start this meeting, please.
All right.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for this opportunity to meet and discuss our common goals and concerns with our neighbors. Please be our guiding light as we make decisions regarding this community and the board and members of this board. Father, we ask you to bless Hilltop Lakes and all those who come here, especially on this 4th of July weekend, where we celebrate the 250th birthday of our great country. Keep everybody safe and have a wonderful weekend. Please send down your Holy Spirit on all of Hilltop Lakes. Let us all who are here receive your spirit of brotherly love. In your name we pray. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Some of y'all may know about that firsthand, I don't know, but again, it's one of those things where we just try to help people avoid a very expensive flight bill after they're overflown and transported. And so I've got information here that I can leave. There's actually an affinity plan discount that's in place for the community already. Not sure how familiar you guys are with it, but there's one through the water board and I think one through the actual resort community. So if you don't notify us that you're part of the community, we might end up charging you more. So I'm actually the representative for the area, and I've got brochures where you can call me or go to my website, learn about all the different plans that you can pick from. It's very affordable. As an example, a 1-year membership is $79 a year. And that covers not only you, but your entire household. And this is whether you have medical insurance or not. And so it's one of those things where you hope to never have to use, but unfortunately, you know, these kind of things happen. And again, most people don't realize that their medical plan, if they have one, it's not going to cover it. They may decline the flight, saying that it's not necessary. And just tell you, we fight insurance companies on a daily basis. They hate paying us. That's where we get our money. We get reimbursed from the medical insurance plans that are out there. But because we offer membership, you don't have to have underlying insurance. We'll actually write off the cost of the flight. You don't have medical insurance. It's one of the reasons why we have membership. So we're not only local, we have a huge national footprint of bases and aircraft all over the country. So if you travel, you're in Florida, you're in California, you're in Colorado, we have aircraft and a network of crews that are able to, regardless of where you're at, potentially take you to the appropriate nearest medical facility. typically our aircraft, regardless if you remember or not, we just try to take that one step extra to try to make sure people are aware that they can protect themselves in the event they're flown. And again, this is the whole household, and it's one of those things where, you know, fortunately, if something like that happens, it's going to be your worst hour. We don't want to worry about huge financial disruption there. So, I know I kind of went over that quick. Does anybody have questions? Yes, ma'am. We're Air Evac as well. And so we're a conglomerate of aircraft companies. Yes, sir.
PHI?
We're not PHI. So they used to be here, and we actually took over their two bases, one in Centerville and one in Bryan College Station. Those are the two bases that I have that cover the area here. Now, we can't guarantee the flight. That's one of the things. Again, there's protocols to this, so I can't control the weather. Again, if something like this happens, they're not calling for our aircraft, they're calling for an air ambulance. And it's typically a time-sensitive matter. And so there could be a potential scenario where you're not flown by one of our aircraft. Very rare, but it could happen. Because again, we only have 2 aircraft in the area. One of them's down for maintenance and the other's on scene somewhere else. You may get picked up by somebody else. But that's one of the reasons that membership is so affordable. We do offer 3, 5, and 10-year plans as well. So if you can afford to extend the plan versus renewing it, I like to say this is not like a gym membership. You tend to keep it. And so versus renewing a 1-year plan every year, you can buy a 3, 5, or 10-year plan and kind of set it and forget it, so to speak. Again, the whole idea is we're helping you out with something extra where, well, fortunately, this is something you can sign up on your way into the aircraft. And again, there's no limitations on flights, there's no caps on flights, there's no, fine print where we're going to say, oh, wait a minute, you were participating in a bungee jumping contest or something. Again, it's very straightforward. As long as you remember, we guarantee you 0 out of pocket. We fight the insurance company for you. And if we can't get money, then that's on us. So, you do have this, sir.
Did you say where your helicopters are located?
So they're Bryan College Station and Centerville. They're called St. Joseph Airmed 12. There's the name of the aircraft. We land out here a ton. I'm sure you've probably seen the helicopter flying around. And so we've got, see it right here, the landing zone. And so we work in conjunction with the fire department here and the EMS folks. And so they're a trusted partner of ours. We try to be very involved in community, so it's not just membership. We are very involved with trainings and education and things like Shattered Dreams events at the high school, and ball drops, and football games where we'll bring the aircraft in, make sure people know who we are. And so I like to say membership matters. It's one of those things where it's the main reason we're able to support rural Texas is through our membership. Not a lot of other competitors, when I say competitors, I consider PHI as an example as a friendly competitor. We're all in the business of saving lives. And again, if we're involved, it's a time-sensitive situation where we're trying to get you to the appropriate care facility in a timely manner. So, was anyone familiar with the program already? And so, okay, so I'm a new representative of the organization. I'm from the Bryan College Station area, and so I didn't even know there was an affinity plan until a week ago out here. And so it's one of those things where it's kind of nice, well, getting access to a discount versus off traditional street rate. And so I'm going to be out in the community making sure people know who we are, what we do, and helping folks navigate if they have questions or want to join. So I've got, as I mentioned, brochures and applications. I'm not sure I can leave those business lines. Okay. So it's got my information on it. It has the discounted pricing. We don't need a whole lot of information from you to join. So just who you are, where you're at, what your phone number is, who's in your household. By the way, it covers non-traditional as well as traditional households. So we kind of use the roof shingle as a definition of who's covered. So I've got an example. My father-in-law is us right now. He's got some health problems. Under that scenario, he would be covered under the membership. You've got a child away at school or in College Station, they would be covered. So a lot of different scenarios these days where there's non-traditional households, I got an older dependent living with you, again, all kind of different scenarios out there. Yes, sir.
Okay, so it doesn't matter which helicopter picks you up, it's still covered?
As long as it's one of our network of aircraft. So the two bases that I mentioned, Ryan College Station and Centerville, are the two closest to serve this area. So as long as it's one of those two aircraft or any other network aircraft of ours. So we've got a base in Fairfield, we've got,
But you were mentioning that PHI, like, if your aircraft are busy and St. Joe's picks you up,
back up. We do not reciprocate with a company like PHI, unfortunately. Now, they do offer memberships. I would encourage you all to participate in both if you think that might be a concern, because again, it's very affordable to get both. And it's one of those things where, to me, again, obviously, it's worth the risk of the cost of the membership based on the fact that you may need this one day. And again, I can just tell you, the cost of these flights is not going down. The cost of fuel, state of the world we're in.
is this a nationwide thing, when you got that aircraft elsewhere?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You were out of town,
Yes, sir. So, yeah, that's what I mentioned. So we've got aircraft everywhere. There's not anyone close to us from the size perspective on a nationwide scale. We're also the largest ground ambulance organization in the country. We just don't have presence here in Texas for that. And so, I don't know if any sports fans in the room, but all the big sporting events you see, NASCAR, NFL, hockey, all the ambulance is in those are owned by us. So I actually work with a company called Global Medical Response, GMR, and so it's kind of a strange thing. We don't have any affiliation with hospitals on it. So if you're conscious and you want to go to a certain hospital and they can care for you there, they'll take you there. Okay. But again, that call is made by the flight nurse, the flight paramedic, the people on that aircraft. And so, but again, it's one of those things where based on what's happening to you, they're going to take you to the most appropriate care center based on what's going on. If that makes sense. It could be Canada, it could be Austin, it could be Houston. Again, it's just one of those things where, again, depending on what's happening to you, will determine that. Yes, ma'am?
So, the applications that you left at the fire station and various other places, associate us, anybody with the discount that is the POA membership.
So those brochures do not have the discount. So I would encourage y'all to call me through the information on there, or if you call the call center on the brochure, mention that you're part of the Hilltop Lakes Resort Community. Otherwise, they may not catch that. And again, it's $99 normal. So we're giving you a $79 rate versus a $99 annual rate. But again, over 3 or 5 or 10 years, that can add up.
That's one last question.
Yes, sir.
Say somebody calls 911, how are they gonna know that your Airbus is supposed
So
to?
all of our members get ID cards. So if you sign up, you'll get a welcome pack in the mail. And that ID cards that you can put in your first wallet. You'll get stickers that you can stick on your car to associate with that you're a member. And again, we try to train the EMS and fire departments on site to make sure they look and see if you're a member or not. Now again, some of that, right, is one of those things where it could be missed. But again, the way I look at it is, again, I would rather have my life saved and have a competitor fly me than our aircraft show up 30 minutes late and I end up not surviving, if that makes sense. So again, the purpose there is we're trying to save your life in a timely fashion, get you to an appropriate care facility. Now, again, odds of a competitor flying are very rare, but it can happen. So I do want to disclose that. Again, if we could guarantee that, we probably couldn't afford that, as I like to say. Because again, it's one of those things where there are some insurance products out there. I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with MASA. There's some other programs. They try to claim that they're to cover everything. And then what happens on the back end of that is that you didn't read the terms and conditions of the contract, and because you were on a tractor, because you were on a side-by-side, they try to decline the claim, plus we have to have underlying insurance that pays before that will pay. It's a reimbursement, and you don't get your money for 6 months, and it's one of those kind of things where you end up having a bad experience. So again, I don't like to talk ill will about competitors, but it's like anything else. If someone's promising you, yeah, we'll cover everything, there's typically some fine lines in the contract language there that might surprise you on the back end. And again, we just try to help folks, if that makes sense. And again, fortunately, things happen, and a good example, you might think you're having a heart attack, and EMS comes, they end up flying you, you get to the hospital, and realize it's a panic attack. Guess what the insurance company's going to do? They're going to say the flight wasn't necessary, and again, it's just a mess, and then you end up with a $50,000 bill, and it's, right? And so we try to take that away from you, and again, through an affordable membership program, give you the peace of mind to know that if something like this happens, you won't be receiving a bill.
Any other questions for him? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all so much. I appreciate the time.
Okay, a motion to approve the May 18th regular board meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
All for? Aye. All opposed?
We do still allow call-in guests, which, as far as I know, we've talked about this before, has always happened. But just so you know, for the month of May, we've had 30 full call-in guests, so it's not totally full. So, and that's like property owners call in saying, you know, my grandson wants to come golf, or we have a lot of people that are, looking at buying property out here, so they'll get a friend, call them in, so you pay the course, and that's right. So, we are having another group golf lesson this Sunday at 2 o'clock at the range. And as far as our tournament schedule, we have a tournament this Saturday, the 9 o'clock shot run, and then we have a tournament on July 11th. And as of now, that's all we have until September 15th. So, anything changes, we have the texting program, we try to do it.
The golf lesson, how are those going?
So last month we had canceled, so we sick. He's the one. The month before it went really good. I think we had 8 total. And, so we'll see, hopefully this Sunday's good. I think one other Sunday we had canceled because of weather.
Have you thought about, since the summer, doing it during the week to get to something to do during the week?
So we tried to have 2, and we didn't really get anybody showed up. Like one was at 6 p.m. I think on a Monday. And we talked about having like a kids camp. Yeah. But we're not sure what kind of response. So, Brody's actually working with making a flyer, and we can kind of spread it out on Facebook or wherever and see what kind of response we get, or see if it would be worth it. It would be awesome if we could get the amount of kids to, you know, stop bringing extra employees those days, and, you know, how to make it like a 3 to 4 hour thing, like, you know, some golfing, some lunch, more golfing kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's what, I did talk to Brody, so that's what he's working on, because the main thing is, with the kids especially, because they're new golfers, we're gonna put together like a little packet with etiquette, golf etiquette, which is really important too, and kind of teach them from the beginning. So, I've been working with them on that, so hopefully we'll have something soon. But the kids are welcome to come to the group golf lessons too, and we did have kids at the one before last, we had a dad, 2 sons, and a son's friend, and they really liked it, and they actually came back and did another private lesson.
Thank you.
Anything else? Any other questions?
Good. All right, I'm going to be Mr. Brian on the golf course maintenance. I just agree with you. The green is great. A total of 7 times over the past few weeks with combinations of fertilizer, fungicide, and wetting agents. We sprayed 4 combinations of fungicide to control leaf spot, lithium, blight, and takeout for time, as well as 2 products to control parasitic nematodes. Okay. Nematodes. Yeah.
Tommy?
Yes.
Just FYI, I made a bunch of copies and they're by the door
Okay.
too, so if anybody wants to take one on the way out.
All right. We verticut the greens 2 times, hot dressed them with sand 3 times. We spiked the greens on June 15th, as we were expecting some wet weather over the course of the application to combat those nematodes again. A granular application of fertilizer was put out after verification, and another application targeting weaker areas was put out 1 week later. We will continue to put extra fertilizer in weaker areas and attempt to get full coverage on all greens by the end of summer. We have also been pulling 6-inch plugs from the nursery green by the Welcome Center to speed this process along. Over the past couple of weeks, we put in 500 of these plugs, greens 1, 2, 3, and 11. Tee boxes were sprayed with plant growth regulator mixed with iron and manganese. On 27th of May, we are planning verticutting them in the near future and putting a heavy layer of sand on the tee boxes where we struggle to grow grass. Almost always because of shade issues. Fairways and roughs were treated with plant growth regulator mixed with iron and manganese. And that looks very good right now. The roughs were treated between 10, 12, June 10 to 12. Fairways were treated on May 22nd. We will be spraying the fairways later this week at an even higher have some electrical issues that have to be figured out by trial and error. But thankfully, it's all fixed today, it's 17th today, and we hope to get it through for a while. The main seal on the Baroness fairway mower is bad and leaks oil. Warranty is expired. This will be a very labor-intensive job to repair. We had to replace the drive roller, the carburetor, and a couple for the PTO on the speed roller this month. Perhaps more cost than the machine is now worth. We had to order voltage regulators for 2 of our triplexes because the batteries were getting overcharged and swelling. The ignition is bad on pull behind oil. Hydrostat on the Barrett cutter went bad, which basically totals the machine. Multiple machines have old wiring issues and make headlights unusable. Trimax, pull behind rough mower, our fleet of machinery is old. It needs no overhaul. It needs work for now, but major issues may be on the horizon. At the end of the day, our fleet is old and most of the equipment is past its standard lifespan. These sorts of problems are only going to increase as time goes on. I have contacted Toro, John Deere, Baroness to obtain quotes on machines to buy or lease. Perhaps a lease package, at least on some of the machinery, may be a viable option. I do know that Brian is working up the specifications for repair, and he's comparing it, buying new. He's going to look at the rebuild costs, compared to buying new. Your rebuild cost is getting 70–80% of new. Well, you're not going to rebuild the machines. You're going to buy new. There's money that was in the budget for capital equipment for the golf course, but we got to do it smart. That's the idea. Just make sure that overhaul costs don't get into the area where new costs. You'd rather have a new machine with a new warranty than a completely rebuilt machine at 80% of the cost and have no warranty. So, Brian is very busy on that.
I'd like to add that he does have one position in maintenance. So if you or anyone you may know is interested in a maintenance position, please fill out
start selling at 2 o'clock, but they open the doors up, I think, at 1. And also, we have a band coming on, thank you for the board, at 9 o'clock, starting around 9 o'clock, or, warming up, and then we'll have fireworks after that. And we're going to be very well staffed this year. It's not going to be repeat.
All right, Blake's good.
Okay, so we, got several bids for targeted, treatment on the lakefront homes, such
chance been to the overflow in Swan to see if the lake is high enough for the water to flow into the overflow?
I'm sorry?
There's an overflow at Swan. Has
Right.
anybody been over to look at the overflow to see if the water level in the Swan is high enough to drop into it?
Well, we went out there, not since the rains, this recent rains, and there's been a lot of rain, but the people in Swan say that their lake is high, and the people in Tonkawa still say that their lake is low. So,
Has anybody checked the valve?
I went to check the valves, and with Mike Sizemore, we opened the valve, or what we thought was open, and he thought it was open when he opened it, the water came out of the top of the thing, but he said he wasn't sure whether or not that was just from the pressure of it going through. Now, the question is, because, like I said, some people are insistent that the valve has been open all this time, and other people are insistent that the valve has been closed for several years.
The only one that would know that would be Randy Weaver. After the dam was repaired, Randy was the one that went over and opened up the valve, and to my knowledge, it's been open ever since. As long as there's water high enough in Swan to flow into the overflow, then it will drop down into the pipe, and it's Tonkawa is 17 feet lower in elevation than Swan. So gravity should pull it right on in.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I'm certainly not a plumber or a lake aficionado on engineering, but when he opened the valve, and the valve sits up like a pole, like a pipe that comes out of the water, comes out of the land, actually. There's another, maybe 2 valves in Swan. And then there's great water drove through.
Are you talking about the pipes that stick up out of the ground?
Yeah, there's one down.
Those are breather pipes.
Yeah.
The actual valve is in a vacant lot right by the landing where the overflow is on Swan.
Right.
And it's
right.
down in the ground.
Yeah, we didn't mess with that one because the boat that we were in couldn't get to it. It was too shallow at that point.
No, it's not. It's on the land. It's on the land.
Okay, well, he didn't show me where that was. He just told me where it was. He said, we showed it to me by pointing at it, but we didn't actually go physically close to it.
Are you talking about the big pipe that goes over the dam?
No, in Swan Lake.
Okay, there's a huge pipe, siphon pipe, at the dam on Swan Lake. Are you talking about that siphon pipe?
No, over by the grate, where the grate is.
Okay, and then that valve from where the,
Right.
what grade are you talking about? Grade of Swan?
The greatest one.
Okay, and the valve is in the ground and it's probably 40, 50 feet from that hole.
Right.
So
He
you
showed
have
it
to-
to me, pointed it out to me, but we couldn't get to it.
No, it's not, you don't have to be, it's on land.
He didn't want to get out of his boat to pull up there and we didn't drive to that. We drove to the other, we drove after, we got out of the boat after, went all the way around the lake to the one that's close to what used to be a kind of a dump area, actually. And, he opened up that valve. That's the one that has the big hole that's sitting up. That, which you said is
That's just a breather.
right, that's what you were saying. He really wasn't familiar with that, what the purpose of it was. And so when he opened it up and the water came out of it, and we suspected that it might be something like that. But if the water was flowing through it, then perhaps it has been opened.
Right, if you open that up, that means water is in the 10-inch pipe.
Yeah,
and it
that's
comes
what
out
we
that
were
breather.
Okay, great, thank you. Because he did say he assumed that's what it meant, but he wasn't sure.
That's what it means.
Okay.
So we get in touch with Lonnie Shannon with Water Department. He used to be a maintenance to that, one of his duties, make sure twice a year he'll close the valve. He can tell you everything about that line that runs in.
Okay, I will. I'd really love to get the plans for this live if possible, but, like I said, I've been trying to call him and he's, like,
Lonnie can manually does it, or did it for years.
Would be nice if it's open, that would be a great relief, because that means we wouldn't have to, investigate it much
If
further.
y'all open the valves, outlet money on it, the grading, when that valve open, you just see the water is pouring down in that grading, and you go off the dam there, the top of it, and all of a sudden you start seeing the water build up on the grade on top of the lake. That valve got to close.
Yeah, I mean, see, I'm telling you, I'm getting in contact with a lot of,
It's going both ways. There's been plenty of people on one that says it's open.
yeah, there are no people that live there, I know that insist it's closed. So.
My recommendation simply is to give the money to Mr. Russ, God, and y'all should go out there and check that out, it's over a mile. I mean, if he's a subject matter expert on those lines, those valves, get with him. And get it from the horse's mouth, don't get it from anybody else.
Yeah.
Just get it about it. Yeah, so.
Thank you.
Very good. Election committee.
Oh, we are planning to meet, I spoke to, Joan, who's the head of the election committee, as well as, yes, thank you. Yeah, thank you. I'm over to start my point. They really said that July is right after the 4th of July, we're going to meet to organize whatever we do for the July.
Very good. Falcon?
So, can you hear me?
Yeah. I do.
There are, 3 dogs left in the animal shelter, and, there's actually 4, one's being fostered, she's taking me back and forth every day. Down to 4, and I feel like once these 4 have all been adopted and found to be home, that we probably will no longer need or want to have a shelter. Wow.
That's good progress over the last.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Sounds good.
And a total of $189.52 is spent at a vet for this store.
All right. We come to members to be heard on the agenda items. We'll do members to be heard at the end for non-agenda items. Do we have anybody speaking on the agenda items? Okay. All right. So we will move old business discussion and potential action. Road update.
Yeah, I've already given a road update on the plan one this week. Hopefully they got started next week. Very road.
We should see that as productivity. That's the key.
So we're prioritizing roads, right? Can we try to get a list of them, so we can update the website, so people understand kind of where it is in priority?
When we get that, we all can, but, we're kind of working on contract, we need to get it first, right?
Yeah.
We're showing, we're trying to go where the most travel roads are, go there first, and then, we're kind of at that, but we got to see how far we can get. Every ridge is where we can start.
Yeah, every region needs to be addressed, yeah.
And that's,
It's a lot of work, on every ridge, and then we'll move from there.
that'll be a swan song.
Yeah, we're gonna keep up with this, we're gonna track where we start, what day, how far we got, and then, kind of build this as we go.
Hotel villas, event reservation system update.
So we had a every once a week, we're doing Amber, Ruby, Amber, working towards the new reservation system, being online by Christopher, and I believe we will just continue meeting on
give you a little bit of update on the new rate. I guess back in August, we started with the new rate system, actually tried to get off the ground in February. And it's a good system. I'll start with this short. It's a good system. In the beginning, didn't know enough about it. It's got a lot of functionality as far as members go, as far as keeping up with the accounting system. Also, there's a community engagement portal website we can utilize. Also has AI features built in with the community website and also with the accounting. And then for the violations, the CCNRs, we have an add-on to that. You can go around and take pictures and send those and document that, track that. And also there's an ACC function on there that can do basically the same thing as what they call field logs. Everything that takes place within that system is updated in real time. It's instantaneously. Right now we've been using a combination of QuickBooks with Access, another add-on. That sometimes works right, sometimes doesn't work. So we're in the process, we think that the new rate can fix a lot of that stuff. We just got started and get it going. Hopefully that'll happen within the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Very good. All right, we're discussing potential action on golf cart lease renewal.
Yes, Joe, I just sent that email to you folks to the board.
Yes.
As far as the purchase versus the lease, we all have to take a look at the email and kind of come up with a decision on which way we want to go on this. So,
Any discussion?
any questions? Purchase versus lease? We've leased. Well, I know over the course of the last few years, we have leased them.
And those didn't have buy options, did they?
Don't get me lying on this last one. I want to say there was, but I'm not 100% sure. Looks like I actually looked at the contract itself. I want to say there was a buyout.
And I think we do on this one as well. Maybe
Yes.
we have a buy
Yes.
option. I think that's right. Now, at some point, we've been leasing some good machines.
Yeah.
Taking care of them.
Yeah.
They have more life in them. I
Absolutely.
think that's a great idea.
So I guess I would recommend the leasing instead of buying mine. You know, because once these leases come up, we can trade in, get the newer ones once they go down, they wear down and whatnot. It's just, to me, it's a better viable option, just to lease them versus not outright. The cost for us as far as the community and the golf, maintenance cuts down. Right?
So is that a wholesale lease across the board that every card is all of our lease at the same time?
Yes.
So we could split that up, like half of them lease and then.
Half of them purchase.
Yeah.
I mean, we could get with them to see if they would do that. That's something that the board was,
Who's this one?
I don't see why not. I don't know, we've never done it since I've been on the board. It's always been straight lease all the way across. I know there was a discussion 2 years ago about just outright purchasing them. There was a place up in Dallas that was a golf course that was supposed to come off the ground, never did. Well, they had purchased all the golf carts for that golf course. We never went with that route because we didn't know the condition of it,
Say a lot of problems with golf carts.
With this current lease, we haven't actually. There has not been any major issues whatsoever with these golf carts.
So this is all from this previous lease that what
Yes.
we have is not any of the buyouts that we
No.
purchased. Okay, so this is like a.
These are all straight leases.
Okay.
These are all straight leases. Say again? The gas. There's gas, and that's the reason why we put a fuel tank down at the golf ball.
So, okay, cool. Somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion to move forward with the lease of the golf course.
You have a second? Yeah, okay. All for?
Aye.
All opposed? One.
Yes.
You would be
I will get an answer for you, remind me next board meeting, and I'll update you, unless I see you before then. Okay, then remind me and that announces to the community.
40 is 80 cars, 80 players. And you give an 80 player tournament, that's good money, 10,000 a day.
Okay, gotcha.
She mentioned the higher frequency golf, too.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
I
it
will.
I will. I'll give an update to all of you next board meeting.
Sounds great.
Okay, so everyone should have the sheet in front of them about feedback. I made a motion to approve all but the last one. Feedback, probably.
Get a second. Read it. Okay, get a second on that?
Second.
All four? All opposed? Motion passes.
Can you clarify what you're talking about?
So they are, it's property for people are no longer restricted to using it, but all they're doing is up to date, is doing what they got, and then we'll put it out to community purchase. They're using it out.
So what were you voting on?
To
Are you selling the lots?
Not just to give them back.
we're receiving it back. No,
Okay.
we're gonna own it.
Because what's on the agenda is sale of takedown.
Oh, well, yeah, okay.
Did you say you take back?
We did.
We did. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Members of the department in general, we have one here, Michael McMullen. It's you, buddy.
I actually have several questions. First one, in preparation for court meeting, Friday, 369 court on the lawsuit. I'm just curious as to who on the board requested through the attorneys to get that on the docket.
Requested what?
Who requested through the attorneys to get that on the docket? Who set the court date?
The attorney said the plaintiff set the court date, because there was an earlier court date, and it got reset by them, because they wanted to use a different judge.
They want to use a different
No,
judge.
the judge was out, so a temporary seating judge was coming in. We opted not to use the temporary seating judge and use the actual seated judge.
So the plaintiff requested the court date, and that's how we're on the docket.
We got rescheduled.
For Friday.
Yes, I don't understand your question. Who requested the court date, or who requested what?
Well, somebody had to drag the show with the attorneys to get the court date, so that's my question.
Well, on the original court date for last month, I think what I'm trying to say is, the one on that last month, I think it was on the 25th, if I'm not mistaken. The original judge, the sitting judge, was out of town. The temporary judge came in, he was not willing to hear both sides due to the fact that he was not familiar with the case, so therefore it was postponed.
And he retired, so then he now has a judge.
Say again?
He retired, so
And now I can judge, yes, yes.
So, at some point, the board released, Marshall and Associates, the POA attorney, from being the POA attorney. And y'all found a new attorney, Porter Law, Porter, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct, and I can answer that one too, because 1, 2, 3, there's only 2 of us on this board that we actually did that, and the previous board although Barcelona was our attorney at one point, he was never directly involved in the lawsuit.
He responded.
He responded, but he wasn't,
And then it turned over to.
there was, but you know what I'm saying, he was not direct, he was not the point man. He advised and answered questions, which is exactly what the board was.
He moved forward for several months until they got to a certain point financially. The
Yes, sir.
insurance company picked up. And
Yes, sir.
hired their law firm.
Yes, sir. Yes.
I had a question for Tiffany McKinney, but apparently I can't really ask her that question, but perhaps somebody on the board might know. Back when Anita Glasgow resigned from her position as an accountant in the accounting department, Tiffany had contacted Anita and asked her for a password to her system, to the system. And Anita said, no, I'm not giving you my password, but I will, you can contact the IT support and they can give you access to the system. So, first of all, I just want to point out that to ask someone to give up their password to a financial system is not only unethical, but it can be illegal. So, in doing so, what you want to do is have Tiffany or whoever then be given through her own individual credentials to have accountability, give her access to the system. But then my question is, when I was on the board, no board member had access to any financial system or any system whatsoever. It was only for office personnel. So, is anybody on the board accessing the system? And are y'all accessing the system to approve transactions or anything like that?
I don't have access to anything.
I do.
You have access.
I have access to the books, absolutely. Why would you think a board member wouldn't have access to the books?
Because none of the board members did before.
What's that proof? Look, if you want this board to operate efficiently, productively, we've got to know the numbers. So, if any board member wants access to financial information, they're going to get it.
And y'all are entering transactions and approvals.
I don't do any of that. I look at the financials. I'm interested in positive cash flow, so this cash doesn't go broke.
But that's what I'm asking is who's approving transactions and payouts and things like that? 'Cause the only thing the board members did was sign checks.
We don't
have approved transactions, to me, that's what it sounds like. If you're signing a
So
check.
approval on paper, but not within the system.
No, I'm not, well, that system's fixing to go away.
Okay.
Talking about QuickBooks and Access and all this other stuff that they've been using for years, it's all going away.
We're in the transition phase.
Alright. That's where we're at.
I still don't really understand the point of your question.
The
Like,
point of
all
my
I sign
question-
is like invoices.
The point of my
and
question is,
checks, so.
are there board members who can access property owners' information
No.
in the system?
I can't get that.
I don't have.
I only have access to financials. And I can't do anything. All I can do is read and run reports. And I'm very interested in it. Because I'm trying to make sure that we're judiciously managing this money.
Right, and that makes sense. Okay, that's all I have.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good, thanks, Mike. Any other, was there any other, members of the department? Yes, sir.
I have a question on this.
answer only part of the questions being asked, while leaving significant concerns unresolved. Whether intentional or not, incomplete communication often creates the appearance of secrecy. Where secrecy is perceived, trust begins to disappear. Trust is not maintained through authority. Trust is maintained through transparency. Likewise, confidence cannot be demanded. It must be earned. The issue before us larger than any single personal decision, financial expenditure, policy change, or disagreement. The issue is confidence. Today, many residents no longer have confidence that significant decisions are being communicated openly, that differing opinions are welcome, or that the board fully recognizes its accountability to the members it serves. Leadership is judged not only by intentions, but also by results. The result today is that many homeowners no longer know what to believe. That should concern every board member, regardless of personal opinion. When confidence declines, communities become divided. Rumors replace facts. Neighbors become suspicious. Volunteerism declines. Property values ultimately suffer because healthy communities are built on trust long before they are built on amenity. I respectfully ask the board to consider whether its current course is strengthening or weakening the confidence of the members. If financial decisions have been prudent, provide the documentation and explanations necessary for members to understand them. If personnel decisions have been necessary, communicate as much as legally and ethically obligations allow. If policies are being implemented for the benefit of the community, explain the reasoning behind those policies before asking residents to simply accept them. Transparency should never be viewed as an inconvenience. It's one of the board's highest responsibilities. Likewise, accountability is not criticism. It is the natural companion of leadership. Good leaders do not fear difficult questions. They welcome them because accountability strengthens credibility. I also respectfully remind the board that authority within the Property Owners Association flows from the membership. The board exists to serve the members. The members do not exist to serve the board. That distinction is fundamental to good governance. I sincerely hope we can move beyond division and restore confidence that has been lost. This community deserves leadership that values openness over defensiveness, accountability over secrecy, collaboration over control, and truth over carefully crafted narrative. My comments tonight are offered not to criticize individuals, but to advocate for principles. Those principles are honesty, transparency, accountability, respect, stewardship. If we recommit ourselves to those values, I believe Hilltop Lakes can become stronger than it has ever been. Thank you for your time.
I would draw a question. I'm very calm down. Please forgive me. Let's talk too much today.
Appreciate the opportunity to speak to the board, but to the community. Sylvie Guzman and two other ladies and myself attended the Republican State Convention in Houston weekend before last. And it was extremely important by all of the speakers at the convention to get the word out. The Democratic Party and socialists are trying to take over the state of Texas. And so they've asked us as members to spread this word. So that's what I'm doing today. And I'll ask you, every one of you, to please commit to go and vote in millions and millions of dollars on advertisement and other shenanigans. So I'm doing what I said I would do. I'm asking you to do that too for us. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
I'm glad to know that, the church has a band, I think it's 12, and, they offer to ride rides free of charge. So if anybody needs help getting to a, boat or whatever, or even, y'all, if you wanna take the van out, all they ask is that you take a little course in driving the van yourself and make sure you're insured and all that. But they have this van available for our community's use, and they've offered, if you need to ride, or they have drivers that can also drive for you, so volunteer drivers, obviously, but just so you know that that's available for our community.
I just want to get invited to the convention. Get invited to the convention. I mean, I want an invite to the convention next time.
You gotta work the polls, brother.
You be a poll watcher.
Be a poster.
That's a good question.
That is inside.
Let me give you some education that I didn't learn some time ago. To be part of the process of our nation, to become a representative of your precinct the day of the vote, like we had a vote not too often long ago, the day of the vote, you would have to go back and be at the precinct convention. The precinct convention is made up of whoever comes back, and then you are assigned or given the privilege of being a delegate to the convention. Most of us don't know that kind of stuff. Where do you learn that kind of stuff? I was fortunate enough to be around people in the Katy area that taught me that. So if you want to be politically involved, which we all need to be, come to the precinct convention, which is at 7:30 after the vote closes at 7. At 7:30 is the precinct convention. We're all welcome, we all be helpful to our nation and our state.
It is fun, and I will say, our community does, we do have no solicitation here as a rule inside Hilltop Lakes. So, people wanna come door to door, but if you don't wanna answer the door, it's your privilege to not answer the door.
Okay. Good, buddy. All right, thank you. Randy Spencer.
Good evening. My name is Brent Spencer, and I'm here today regarding the general maintenance positions currently posted by the POA. I want to address my concern about the qualifications and the hiring
Well, you know, I encourage everybody to fill out an application for the position you feel that you qualify for. And why a supervisor does not select the application is the, you know, supervisor's discretion.
I was told by Ruby that she would review the applications over a week ago, and I would get an email. She was gonna review it like Monday and Tuesday, then by Wednesday, she would send out an email, and we would select a interview time and date for either Thursday or Friday. I never got any notification back.
I haven't received notification either.
Yes.
So yes, I did tell him that, and we have been busy with the whole pool situation, that we have actually had to postpone interviews as far as that goes. We haven't had the time to set up interviews for anyone. We haven't reached out to anyone yet.
Okay, so position's open and they're still going through applications, right?
Yes.
Not that they set for you, at least one or two open positions, there's no vacancy set.
Don't applicants have an opportunity at least to be notified, oh yes, we received your applications being considered, stand by, I mean, some staff.
Any process or did you apply through the website?
So welcome center, fill them out, they turn them in, transfer them over to Ruby over in the lot.
I will say one thing about that problem, it's a big problem, that, the two things that I've sat in on, you know, I can't always sit in on interviews, but we can't read these people right. And my preference is, and I don't know how the board feels about this, it's just my preference. I think we need to have applicants fill out online applications so we can read them. I don't know that yours is in that, I'm not saying.
Mine was typed so that it would be legible.
I think his biggest question was about the hiring process and qualifications. What makes a person qualified for the maintenance position?
The hiring supervisor goes through the applications. I mean, I don't even select the applicants. The hiring supervisor goes through their selection, 5, 6, 7.
So it's luck of the draw?
And then we spend, well, wouldn't exactly call it luck of the draw. If I'm a hiring supervisor, I'm going through the number. We get applications, I know, for people that are in New York City. We call those out, kind of a waste of time to ask somebody that, you know, are we discriminating against that person? Well, they don't live in close proximity to where the work or the job may be. So those kind of things are pretty much straightforward. But I really don't know what your question you're asking. Are we discriminating? Is that what you're asking?
If you want to take it that way, yes.
That's kind of what it's across the meter. We're discriminating on the hiring process. That's not the case.
Okay, those are your words. I'm saying, the question is, what process is used? And you're saying it's up to the supervisor.
Say the supervisor looks at the application, selects, we schedule, and then interview takes place. That's the process. Anybody else have any questions about that process right now?
I just wanna say, it took me from 2019 to 2022 to finally get a job as an admin assistant, which I had done for over 30 years. And not once during those 5 different applications was I ever notified that I didn't get a job.
So what you're saying, this isn't the first time. It's been going on for years.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a little feedback, that's even.
Yep. I mean, that would be, so I mean, that's, I guess something, that's some improvements that we can put in
I have applied
place.
for many jobs through many different companies and have never heard back. They don't know. Well, you're not the only one that probably don't. I mean, it is, I mean, all across the board. We can get anywhere from 30 to 40 applicants that may apply. Yes, nothing may be out of town, not close enough, but we're gonna send out 30 to 40 emails saying, sorry, you didn't get a job. I'm not, I may not hear from him at all. But you should.
Well, I think what makes the difference is, as well, is that we know he's located here. We know he lives here, and so he's probably, should be on the shorter list, at least than somebody from New York. But at least, that's a follow-up is what I'm hearing is concern. The follow-up is what I'm hearing is concern.
Well, these are all measures that we can look at and see how we can improve the processes. I mean, that's something that won't be hard to do. Yeah. Just look at it, improve the processes, and make it better going forward versus what it is now.
Well, it's saying that you would at least acknowledge receipt of somebody's application, and if you advertise a position and say, well, this position is not open for relocation, well, that at least tells the applicant, well, they're not gonna relocate me, but what if I wanna move there? Would you just dismiss them because they live in New York? If they're willing to move here on their own expense and they're qualified, why wouldn't you at least do a telephone interview?
Probably would.
I think that this should go on, we just probably need to stop here. I will say one last thing, that how many no-shows do you have during those interview processes? People don't call, they don't ever say that, sorry, I'm late, they're going to reschedule. That's happened more times than it has people showing up in their job. But one of our people, that's all I have to say.
Another topic, could you clarify whether Hilltop Boulevard is private or county road?
Private with county road, public access.
Question, who maintains the road?
My understanding is we're supposed to, the county had, they pushed it up over to us.
TJ Foley spoke about that in December.
Yes. Never seen.
Yeah, he spoke about that. Apparently, it was a deal between Hilltop Lakes and the county
Many years.
many years ago.
That's right, I tell you.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yes.
For 15 years or 6 years now.
What exactly does the county get for this? I'm being a little sarcastic, saying just because that doesn't even seem right. If we own it and we pay for it, I know it needs to be regulated as a county road. But the county should put its money.
So my understanding is, and I'll get back with you about it, there is limitations as to what they can do with the road and bridge tax. And so the limitation is they can't do any of Hilltop because it's private, is my understanding. That is what I've understood from them. But I will get back with him and get a clarification on that, because he and I regularly communicate. So I'll get back with TJ to make sure that that is accurate, because the reason why I'm aware of that is because this whole 911 readdress situation is where it kind of got brought up is, you're all forcing our hand at this, what can you do to help us? And there was not a lot that they could do to help, because it's limitation, because we're private.
I will say, when I spoke to Judge Ryder, after his election loss, he said that the strongest thing he could recommend to Hilltop Lakes is to, become a township and. Municipality, yes. And that, just follow that away in your hat, that's what Judge Ryder said, as he retires, and he ran again, but didn't make it last time, but that was what he said. If I were to leave any final messages to Hilltop Lakes, that's what I would recommend.
Yes, ma'am?
Since I don't know, what are the pros and cons of it being a municipality and not? I don't know that.
Government aid,
Funding.
local, state, federal funding, grants, municipality.
And is that a difficult process to get, and that's why we have.
Not necessarily, man, not if you're a municipality, no. It's not.
You know,
Then we have to be like a regular town, we have That's where you get all your grants, you know, where the towns get all the grants, the federal grants.
And the grants for roads, for.
Yes, ma'am, yes, infrastructure.
Is that something we've ever tried to do, or did we?
I know that it's ever been tried to do, I know it was discussed once upon a time briefly, but then it was quickly squashed.
It's never been researched either, to be
So,
The reason I
Thank you.
yes, ma'am.
I am concerned with the speed that people go down Hilltop Boulevard.
Yes, sir.
And I wanted to know if I needed to go to the county to have them address it, or if it belongs to Hilltop, and I need to speak to you folks about it.
Is there any,
Well, TJ said once before that he has hired a constable, and that constable will be physically here to enforce actions like speeding, especially when Hilltop Boulevard, but any types of activity. I don't know, I don't live this close to Hilltop Boulevard, if people ever see a constable. But he is our county commissioner, and certainly people can contact him and express their concern.
I did see him in the church parking lot last weekend.
There you go.
Yeah,
Last Saturday night.
He can come everybody. Tina's talks to them, works with them. They started quite a bit more presence out here. Sometimes for other things, while they're here, they take care of it. It's that control.
And we have to be on county sheriff, that lives right here on Kicker Lake.
Yeah, but he's out there.
He's about your station.
Yup, he's Madisonville.
well, I think.
He works Madisonville, yeah, that's right, you're right.
He's,
Yep, I stand corrected. You're right.
a state team windshield right now, his prior zone. Yes, ma'am.
Because I don't know, what does it take to get like a caution or a slow down or like some kind of sign like that? But I don't have to go through somebody how does that happen?
We talked about it last week, we're potentially looking at like kind of a slow down curve.
Right,
Blind spot, fire department ahead, and be solar.
right.
We kind of have flashing.
But so you don't have to go through like.
You should not have to.
Is that corner, I mean, we haven't looked here that long, but that's a terrible corner right there. It's totally blind.
But are you talking about by the fire station? Are you talking about by the fire station? Yeah, I got a little corner in, then if you come to Yopon, back, as you go around there, instead of the busy building, that is not a property owner's land, that's a green space.
Right.
And that is in the works right now.
That's great, that's, I mean, that would solve part of the problem right
Yeah,
there.
I live around that bit.
Yeah, it's long.
On that subject, does our fire department, our EMS system, have the funds to at least give our volunteers that are responding something to identify when they are responding to the fire department?
Yeah, either run their emergency flashes when they're heading up to answer a call to let people know, you know, that's the reason they're speeding. And it's understandable.
No, but it would sure make a difference in,
I would use this moment to remind people that the fire department is always accepting funds of the water department to add into your bill, and that money is desperately needed and used by the fire department for the benefit of our first responders.
Especially in our time for water. They need the drinking water.
Equipped with emergency flashes, all they gotta do is push a button, turn it on. And at least let somebody know, hey, that's light and going that fast, it's up the road, and you can get out of the way.
As emergency responders and private lines and private vehicles, that this request is like anybody in the law putting in four ways. It does not give them authority to break the law in any given way. You're totally responsible for all their actions, including speed limits. The state does allow emergency responders to put emergency lights on their vehicles, but they take all liability when they do that. And if they're doing it for the fire department the fire department has to sign off on those lights, on that vehicle, and on that driver, that they have the authority to run those lights. Most departments don't do that, it's just taking willy-nilly that I'm volunteering, I'm putting lights on, and everybody get out of the way.
Even your emergency flashes that's on your vehicle would help. At least it would let people know that you're responding to a call.
If you're doing 40 miles an hour and 30 on the blind curve, it's not gonna help you. In all due respect, but yes, they're from the side of the road or something like that, emergency flashes. But it does not give them the authority, and that's been very, brought out in state laws throughout the nation about it. So, for the fire department to do it, you see that on a fire department vehicle, that's an individual, that won't ask you for extra clearance to get to the station a little bit faster, but they're assuming all responsibility when they do that.
Last weekend, I was out on my